What's going on, gamers? This is a very highly requested video for me to do. I'm not a super great at putting guides together and stuff, but I'm gonna do my best to get this thing out to you guys, and I'm gonna kind of structure it out in a way to get to hopefully get you all the information you need. I will preface this video with there are millions of ways to build Harlowe. You can do it in so many different kinds of ways. I'm just going to show you the way that I'm doing it right now that's working for me in Ultimate Vault Hunter rank 5. Yeah, let's go ahead and get into it, guys. All right, so I'm going to put timestamps below, and I'm going to section this off with starting with a demonstration of how the build works, and then we're going to go into the skill tree, and then we're going to go into the gear, and then we're going to go into the firmware that I'm using currently, and we're going to hit the specialization tree, and then we're going to talk about the things that I still need for this build, the things I'm still looking for. And I want you guys to drop down below anything you think I might change about this build. Maybe it's not the greatest thing in the world. Maybe I've got some wasted talent points here or there, but let me know if you think that. So we're going to go ahead and get into a demonstration. We're at the Rippa Roadbirds, which is one of my favorite legendary bosses to farm. That's the Saw Clinch Ripper Drill site right here inside of the ruined Sump Lands, inside of the Carcadia Burn area. So very far up here in the northeast part of the map. Well, not the northeast part of the whole map, but the northeast part of Carcadia Burn. Either way, very easy to get to. I don't believe there's any sort of requirements to come here. You just come here and get her done. So we will just run through this real quick. If you don't really care to see the demonstration, feel free to fast forward to the next timestamp. But let's go ahead and let it rip here. And I probably won't talk too much during this. We'll just slay it out. And you'll see some of the things that we'll talk about a little bit later. The biggest thing with this build that I'm like super stoked about is look how fast my ultimate comes back again. And we get to retake advantage of that ultimate damage. These weapons kill me more times than I kill things with them, though. Keep in mind, too, we are on Ultimate Vault Hunter 5, which is the 5 levels after hard. For those that may not know that exists, it does very much exist. If you want a guide on how to get to Ultimate Vault Hunter 5, let me know in the comments below, because I might be able to do that as well, because it is kind of cryptic. And if you notice, I also pretty much have like 2 abilities, essentially. Okay. These guys also drop these assault rifles that I'm using right now. I have we'll talk about it a little bit more later, but I've got three different versions of this AR. Got more health than the bosses do. Okay, so we'll Q on one, knife it, and just melt him. I said Q. We'll ult on the next one. Melt him as well. Knife him and melt him. Alright, so that's pretty much it for the demonstration. Finish up these little guys here. Okay. Alright, so if you skip the demonstration part, they're all dead. We didn't get any Lego drops, unfortunately. It's just part of the game. So the very first thing we're going to talk about is my skill tree. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. So we are under the red tree, which gives us our Chroma Accelerator here. I'm going to remove my camera for this part so that you can see everything. But more or less, this is the tree here. We take some increased fire rate. Just helps out a lot with getting the damage output from those assault rifles. We also take 5 into test subjects, which applies a status effect to enemies that gives us action skill cooldown rate. And then we take the neutron capture up here, and that's pretty much the whole top section. Then we go down and we more or less every time a enemy gets entangled, another enemy, like if I kill an entangled enemy, which it's not super clear, but I did find out that anything that your ultimate hits, anything that the Chroma Accelerator hits, does become entangled, quote unquote. So anytime we kill an entangled enemy, another enemy nearby gets entangled as well, or a 50% chance for that. I am kind of messing around with this cryo damage conversion stuff, and I'll show you a little bit more of that in the 0-point tree. But more or less, we're converting all of the damage that we do into cryo and radiation damage. And we're doing increased radiation damage, and we're also building up that bonus radiation damage in our gun based on how much damage our Chroma Accelerator does. So we've also got more entangling, what do you call it, cohesion here. Harlowe deals bonus radiation damage to entangled enemies, so pretty much every single time I shoot my accelerator, we entangle a guy, and when we kill that entangled guy, the guy beside him gets entangled, and we just do 18% more radiation damage to those guys. And we also get radiation damage inside of our gun whenever we, kill something with it. So it's just like all kind of adds up. Whenever Harlowe indicate or irradiates an enemy, create a radiation explosion on that enemy. Still not 100% sure if this is very beneficial or not. But yeah, we're picking up both of those guys on the bottom there. And 1 point into crit hits with guns. Harlowe gains crit hit chance with guns against irradiated enemies. So there's that as well. More crit. We like crit. Next tree over here. I actually have I'll show you this in a second, the class mod for this thing. So we've got 5 into action skill. After triggering or re-triggering an action skill, Harlowe gains increased gun damage. So that's like free 30% gun damage at the top of the blue tree. Too easy. Also, we gain elemental damage, status effect, apply chance, and cryo effectiveness. So just more elemental damage, etc. Status effect chance, all that good stuff. Whenever Harlowe deals cryo damage, gain increased action skill cooldown rate. So there's that as well. Just helps like get our ult back super fast. And where's that? Where's the part? Oh, okay, here it is down on the bottom. I was trying to figure this out. So whenever Harlowe critically hits an enemy, she briefly puts that enemy into stasis. This form of stasis lasts for a short duration or until the enemy is shot again. So that's a pretty dope thing to be able to have the ability to do the stasis lock and Chroma Accelerator at the same time. And the only reason that is even viable, and the reason that that's so good, is it immediately has a 100% chance to irradiate something. So the way that we get our ult back so fast is by shooting irradiated enemies. It like literally decreases the cooldown massively, and you can see that whenever I shooting at kind of a bigger guy. Like I'll shoot my ult and it says 30-second cooldown, and as soon as I start lighting them up, it just like instantly refills. So next part we're going to talk about is my gear. So I have 3 versions, like I had mentioned, of the Wombo combo that drops off these bosses here. I have a fire version, a corrosion version, and a shock version. None of them, except for this one, have any sort of license on it. I am still currently looking for licensed versions of these 3 guns, mainly so that I can amplify them with a good enhancement if I ever see one drop. But essentially, this gun right here is nothing. This is just the gun I got from the vending machine. Was just playing around with it. But these ARs, this whole build is kind of built around these ARs. So then we've got the Mega Augmenter AF1000, which really isn't like set in stone. I really haven't found much to replace this at this point. But the reload speed on the ARs every time I stim is super beneficial. We've got the throwing knife with the penetrator augment that allows us to crit hit for 5 seconds straight. No matter where we hit them on the body, it's considered a headshot, which is really nice, especially for trying to quick burn some big guys and stuff like that, because obviously we do a lot more crit damage, like 5 times more by default, I believe, is how much crit does, more or less. But yeah, super good with the knife. And I just picked this up yesterday and started messing with it, so this is the first time I'm using it, really. And here is our class mod, which is kind of huge, but at the same time, it's kind of funny that it's not specific to this build, but I'm still using it to pick up that extra stasis, which is pretty dope. I can't recall exactly where I got this from. I'm pretty sure it just came from a random loot box, if I remember right. But it gives us 45% increased assault rifle damage, which is freaking sick. And also we can't take advantage of the Harlowe slams an enemy in stasis thing, but they do slam automatically after the fact, if that makes sense. So we get stasis damage, so we get increased damage while they're in the stasis bubble, and we also get increased assault rifle damage. The shield is obviously the fireworks shield from the first boss. Super good shield. Looking for a better version of it, but haven't gotten one yet. And then we've got the honestly the only thing I have this for is the 50% gun crit damage. Like this is the worst item that I have right now, but you know, just waiting for that good one to drop. Plus I'm waiting for licenses to drop on these 3, and if I can get these 3 to have all the same license manufacturer or whatever, like that would be absolutely crazy to pair with that, and then have pretty much shock, corrosion, and a fire weapon for each one. I mean, at the end of the day, I'll probably only end up using the shock because it seems to do the best against anything. But yeah. All right, so next, let's talk about my firmware choice that I've made. So I'll show you this here. Hold on one second. All right, so I made this spreadsheet. It's not in the form of a spreadsheet, but if you want to screenshot it, turn the cam off again. There you go. There's that. Go ahead and screenshot that. But this is more or less, I've been hoarding everything that has firmware on it in order to figure out what the 1, 2, and 3 piece set bonus is, and trying to figure out some interesting combinations, because you can have a total of 5, so you can get 1 3 piece and 1 2 piece, which is pretty dope. And right now I am actually using the trick shot one and the Deadeye one, so we get 5% reload speed, 10% more gun crit damage, and we also get 30% gun accuracy, 25% more crit damage, and every crit grants 15% crit, stacking 5 times. So that's like boom, 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 lots of crit. Many different ways you can use this to build some pretty wild stuff. To be completely honest, you could probably just do one of each one. And if you guys want a video on how more in-depth video on firmware, let me know too. I'm probably going to make something along those lines. But with that being said, you can see here that we have the 3 Deadeye. So we get the gun accuracy 30%, gun crit damage 25%, and every crit hit grants 15% critical damage per stack for a maximum of 5 stacks for 10 seconds. So that's pretty sick, especially paired with our crit knife, to where we can just crit all the time. And we also get the 2 piece from Trick Shot, which is just more crit damage and reload speed. So super dope. And yeah, this is pretty much how this is going so far. These builds are actually pretty in-depth, to be honest, and there's so many different ways you could do everything. But let's go ahead and talk about my specialization tree. All right, so when it comes to the specialization tree, I really haven't moved around or done too much reworking of this at all. But I will tell you what I have. So we've got 20 points in brute. Okay, phone, shut up. 20 points in brute, 10 points in sharpshooter. We picked up the lead or alive, which allows us, when we're in our fight for our life, to get increased fire rate and for all of our weapons to be reloaded when we go down. This obviously helps a lot getting back up again. And then we take the Riddle You This. When the Vault Hunter deals gun damage, gain a stack of Riddle You This, increasing gun damage. 1 stack for a maximum of 50 stacks, dude. 50 stacks. So if we're fighting something beefy, you know, that adds up pretty quick, especially with the increased fire rate with these ARs. They each have about 100 rounds of mag, so very, very beneficial. We get the killer perk here that allows us to gain increased critical hit damage and status effect damage. Currently with 14 points, it's at about 12% more. And we also got the down but not out perk as well, which gives us gun accuracy and the ability to ADS while we are on the ground, which is actually also kind of nice because things are usually far away. And then we get in the zone while aiming. The Bolt Hunter gains increased gun damage and crit hit chance per stack. Bonuses are lost after 2 seconds of not aiming. So if we spend a lot of time aiming down sights, which is really easy to do with these ARs, then we get that bonus as well. All right, so now let's just talk about some things I'm still looking for, things that you can keep a lookout for, and what I'm, looking to continue to mess around with. We want to get down the skill tree to this 20 points in killer section. We still need 6 more skill point levels for that, and that's going to allow us to, when we overkill an enemy with a crit hit, it'll cause them to explode, dealing skill damage, 50% of the initial hit, which is pretty cool. I want to see what the heck that is all about. And I'm not 100% sure action skills gain a chance to critically hit enemies and also gain increased action skill crit hit damage. That might be worth going down as well, but the only problem with that is you have to, in order to get Daredevil, you have to have 10 points in Runner as well, which is just movement speed and melee damage. So I feel like that's kind of a waste, maybe. But as far as inventory goes, like I had mentioned, I'm still looking for these same ARs here, the Wombo combos, but with some sort of license on them, so that we can pair them with a better enhancement mod, and we can easily throw trick shot on another enhancement mod. I've got tons of trick shot stuff saved up, so that's not too bad. But we want like gun crit damage, gun damage, assault rifle damage. Honestly, any of those would be sick because there's no way we're going to get all 3 of them, right? But that would be actually pretty crazy. But yeah, that's pretty much more or less like what I'm looking for right now. If you want any more guides or anything like that, first off, let me know how I did here because I'm typically not very good at doing this kind of stuff. But anyway, let me know down in the comments. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't yet. We're on our way to 100,000. You want to be part of the crew. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Take it easy. Peace.